Today we will study the difference between mitosis and meiosis. Difference number 1. Number of cells. The first point is that both mitosis and meiosis are cell cycles. In the mitosis cell cycle, when it divides, two cells are formed from one. But in the meiosis cell cycle, when it divides, four cells are formed from one. Difference number 2. Number of divisions. The second point is that in mitosis, the cell divides only once, completing in a single cycle. You can see this cycle where two cells are formed from one, but the meiosis cycle completes in two steps. In the first step, two cells are formed from one, and in the second step, four cells are formed from two. The first cycle is called meiosis I, and the second cycle is called meiosis II. Difference number 3. Process. The third point is that in mitosis, the process is very simple, but in meiosis, the process is complicated. That's why we have divided it into 5 steps or 5 parts. Their names are leptotin, zygotin, lechitin, diprotein, and diakinesis. Difference number 4. Synapses. The fourth point is that in mitosis, synapsis does not occur, but in meiosis, synapsis occurs. Now, what is synapsis? Look, this is chromosome A, and this is chromosome B. When these two meet, their pairing is called synapsis. Its definition would be the pairing of homologous chromosomes is called synapsis. Difference number 5. Crossing over. The fifth point is that in mitosis, crossing over does not occur, but in meiosis, crossing over occurs. Now, what is crossing over? Look, this is chromosome A, and this is chromosome B. When these two meet, they exchange genetic material with each other. A gives to B, and B gives to A. You can see that their arms have changed. This is what we call crossing over. Its definition would be the exchange of genetic material between two homologous chromosomes is called crossing over. This is the reason we resemble our parents. But there is a slight difference because a small amount of genetic material changes. The rest remains the same, inherited from our parents. Difference number 6. Chromosome number. Now, let's come to the sixth point. In mitosis, the chromosome number stays the same when the cell divides. For example, if one cell divides and has 46 chromosomes, then in mitosis, two cells are formed from it. Both cells will have the same number of chromosomes, 46 and 46. But in meiosis, this is not the case. In meiosis, the chromosome number is halved after cell division. For example, if there is one cell with 46 chromosomes, then 4 cells are formed from it in meiosis. All 4 cells will have half the chromosome number, which becomes 23. Difference number 7. Where they occur. In mitosis, it occurs in the body's somatic cells. Now, what are somatic cells? They are cells like our body's hair, skin, and organs. Mitosis occurs in all of these. But meiosis occurs in germ cells, such as sperm and ovum. In these cells, meiosis occurs. But in hair, skin, and organ cells, mitosis occurs. Now, let's come to the 8th point, friends. In mitosis, it occurs in organisms that reproduce sexually or through asexual reproduction. Mitosis occurs in both types of organisms. But meiosis only occurs in organisms that reproduce sexually. In our body, both mitosis and meiosis occur. Now let me explain what sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction are. Sexual reproduction is a type of reproduction in which organisms produce offspring from two parents. This means that two parents are required for this. For example, this is a male and this is a female. When these two meet, the offspring that is produced is formed by the combination of both parents. This type of reproduction is called sexual reproduction. But asexual reproduction, A means without. In this type of reproduction, only one parent is needed to produce offspring. This is called asexual reproduction. Bees, ants, and bacteria reproduce asexually. The types of asexual reproduction are binary fission, parthenogenesis, budding, and fragmentation. These are different types of asexual reproduction, where organisms produce offspring similar to themselves. In fission, two cells are formed from one. In budding, an extra growth appears, which separates and forms a new organism. In fragmentation, any organism breaks into small fragments, and new organisms form from these fragments. But in parthenogenesis, an organism lays an egg, and a new organism is formed from that egg. Question of the day: what is the name of the first phase of mitosis?